Alright, so apparently there's nothing wrong with the audio. There is, however, something wrong with the testing device that I'm using. I have no idea what's wrong with it. So anyway... Here's the fun basis of today's episode, and I'm not gonna get too friggin' hot. Actually, I'm gonna get extremely fucking heated. Pardon my French. I know YouTube has a thing about people swearing in the first couple minutes of the videos. I'm sorry, YouTube. But this one kind of hit the bricks today. More of a personal, familial level. Here's the thing. I can name the suspect because he's in public news and therefore makes him a public figure. And that makes him newsworthy. Which is why this is going to be a news feed. I'm going to share the open link to our little broadcast here and getting more folks watching because you know, I'm not going to play the fucking cast the stone fucking game, but there are people out there who are absolutely going to get called out on this stupidity because I'm done dealing with it. Absolutely done. Yep. Come on. And I think I'm probably not the only one either. Okay. I think I'm probably not the only one either. We're pretty well all done playing this game with people of not throwing stones in glass houses and whatnot, and we're gonna start putting and calling it like it is. That's what's gonna happen. So here's what we're gonna do. We're pretty well all done playing this game with people of not throwing stones in glass houses and whatnot, and we're gonna start putting and calling it like it is. That's what's gonna happen. So here's what we're gonna do. Alright, there's a little bit of echo there. So we'll tone down the device in question here. So here's the thing. Alright. I gotta shrink myself down in OBS. Alright, there's a little bit of echo there. This individual has familial connections to me, and I'm not gonna say how. So here's the thing. Alright. I gotta shrink myself down in OBS. This individual has familial connections to me, and I'm not gonna say this individual voted the same way I did in the last election. I can about guarantee it. He is a conservative, and I am going to call him out. I will call him out. Here's the thing. I have insider information on this particular situation that I am not going to disclose my source. There were text messages found. I can about guarantee it. He is a conservative, and I am going to call him out. I will call him out. Here's the thing. I have insider information on this particular situation that I am not going to disclose my source. There were text messages found. And, yeah. So, here's the thing. here's the down low. This individual, let me back that out so I can actually read this to you people. Yeah, so Marathon, Florida, South Florida, Marathon, Florida. Pastor accused of blankly battering 15-year-old girl at a church. I can't say it on YouTube because of policy, but it is a news article. All right. Deputies arrested South Florida, Marathon, Florida. Pastor accused of that echo is terrible. Battering 15-year-old girl at a church. I can't say it on YouTube because of policy, but it is a news article. All right. Deputies arrested South Florida. Why is my TV so loud right now? I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah, I use my TV to relay stuff. Hang on. There we go. That'll work. That'll work. All right. We'll start this over again after I share this across the way, because this is just the beginning of my little tirade, and the world is going to have to listen to it this morning. Because, well, actually, it's no longer morning, is it? It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Maine Standard Time. I gotta love that. Here's the thing. This person is a direct relative of mine. Well, not directly. He's an in-law of sorts. Here's the thing. This person is a direct relative of mine. Well, not directly. He's an in-law of sorts. I gotta share this out real quick. Get more people than just myself actually watching this stuff. My primary audience is on Facebook. I have a sub-audience on Twitter. This is not... Get more people than just myself actually watching this stuff. My primary audience is on Facebook. I have a sub-audience on Twitter. This is not... Alright, now that that's done, I get to get on YouTube on my phone and share it to my Twitter to get my sub-audience in here. Anyone who catches this as a video after the fact, if you don't mind, hit the like and subscribe button. Could use as much visibility as I can on issues like this. I think people need to talk about this stuff more and more every day, and I think it's right for us as conservatives to be calling out the BS in our own movement as well as everywhere else. Look, I even packed a notebook today. Look, I even packed a notebook today. So here's the thing. I have zero concern for my own safety or privacy in this video, man, moving forward. And anyone who wants to dox me can, absolutely, and I will have zero problem with it. I welcome the company. We can have coffee and biscuits, or maybe like tea or hot chocolate or whatever, and enjoy the day. Who cares? So, I'm going to read the news article for you. Marathon, Florida. Deputies arrested South Florida pastor Monday morning after they accused him of sexually assault, sorry, I can't use that word, blankly battering an intoxicated 15-year-old girl at his church. Monty LaVille Chitty, 62, of Marathon. We'll have a discussion about him being of Marathon here in a minute, and that's the notebook. Is facing charges of blank battery of a minor, lewd and lascivious conduct, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. He is the pastor of First Baptist Marathon, located at 262 Street. Sorry, you city folk are probably going to be laughing at me for this one. 262nd Street, where he was arrested just before 6:15 Monday morning, according to jail records. In a news release, County Sheriff's spokesperson Becky Heron said deputies were informed of what happened after an anonymous caller reported overhearing a girl telling an adult that she had been blanked. I can't use that word, courtesy of YouTube. Heron said the girl and her grandmother had boarded a dinghy and headed out to the harbor. Meanwhile, as deputies were searching for her, authorities requested a second call. Received, not requested. My reading sucks. Received a second call. It was from Chitty, Heron said. Chitty said Heron told dispatchers he believed he was about to be accused of something and wanted to get ahead of it, and saying that a young girl at his church had been drinking and had passed out on a church in the library of the church. He said he helped her to lie down on the couch and did not touch her after that. Authorities said that the girl was found on board a boat where she lives, and told deputies Chitty gave her alcohol and that she thinks might have been spiked with something. She said she immediately began to feel weak and lost consciousness. Alright, so we all know how this stuff goes from here. I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word. Further investigation by detectives received text messages between the victim and Chitty, Heron said. In their messages, which were found both on his and her phones, Chitty made reference to having blankful relationships with the girl, which she was impaired. Well, she was impaired. Alright, here's the thing. I think that's enough evidence to pretty much indicate what this individual is being accused of and is probably most definitely guilty of. So here's the thing. I have some insider info on this individual. Something that people don't know that I know. A lot of people don't know that I know. And it really is what you know. Monty Chitty, 62, male. Worked in the Southern Baptist Convention as a church planter and a pastor in Utah, Minnesota, and possibly Nevada and more states. Him and his wife worked at Hannah House Maternity, which was a housing organization for pregnant women in need of help. He was also what is called a village public safety officer out in Bush, Alaska, in a town called Acatan. He also conducted Bible studies and pastoral work in False Pass and Cold Bay. Now that is important, because everywhere this man has gone, as far as I can tell, mostly in Alaska anyway, especially in regards to Cold Bay, he had to leave the town to go to Texas and then Florida, or probably just straight to Florida, if I had to guess, because of a scandal somewhat similar to what's being discussed here. This is something that you will not hear on the news. You will only hear this here. Because I know this person. I was in False Pass when he was doing Bible studies. My family is interwoven with his own, whether he likes it or not. We know details that he'd rather not have let out, and I am opening up the floodgates on him because this is an individual, like I said, who voted the same way that I would vote, who has gone the same way politically that I agree with, but is I don't want to use the word scumbag, but it fits so well, is a scumbag. We'll stick with it. Now, here's what I can tell you. Okay? Bush, Alaska, I can tell you that this most likely happened in Bush, Alaska, because I will tell you as a matter of recourse, you will never get anyone to admit to anything bad that happened out in Bush, Alaska. I lived there for 8 years. I've seen it more than once. My dad was a cop. My father himself was a village public safety officer back when I was a child. There were many times, he would get a complaint, an initial complaint of the R word, or some sort of domestic violence. And it instantly becomes a, oh, I made it up, or, oh, I fell down the stairs situation. And you people know exactly what I mean. Now, Bush, Alaska has a different culture, and I will probably receive hate from just about every person on my family, friends, and whatever list for doing this video in the first place, but we're gonna go here, people. And you people know exactly what I mean. Now, Bush, Alaska has a different culture, and I will probably receive hate from just about every person. Here's the thing. He has possible scandals regarding family. A family member who accused him of doing something and then ran away because he told the necessary people, the authorities, that she had a drug problem. This is an individual whose recidivism preys upon people with bad reputations. He will use their previous bad actions as a cover for his own. I guarantee you that is exactly what he's going to do here, word for word in court. I have previous examples of this. He beat his wife at least once that my family knows of, and then made up a cover story regarding something happening to her in Anchorage that never happened. He openly beat one of his children, including kicking them. There was a boat trip to Guam, so I don't know what the laws are over there in Guam as far as what you can and can't do, but I'm sure if there was a couple of complaints against him, Guam might be interested to know that. He was a truck driver at some point, so, good luck tracking down all the people he came into contact there. Lots of other mobile jobs, which, more or less from my source, had told me that they just couldn't keep up with them all. This is also a person who most likely, and this is just my suspicion here based off of what I've talked to him about, his conspiracy theories that the moon landing was a hoax, and that the world is flat, and a bunch of other BS that he seems intent to pitch. This individual, would definitely have the mindset of age being just a number. I'm not even kidding. And at this point, the text messages and the evidence supports my claim. Obviously, he does not care about age because there are certainly issues with this individual that need to be discussed. And I think that the Florida state, or whoever it is, the county attorney or whomever is prosecuting this case, needs to have this information on hand. They absolutely should be looking at his past life patterns, including his need to leave every time he screws up, because he does this. He's probably done this more than once. And also, as a note, this is not something that someone just does on a weekend because they choose to. No, this is something that someone does because they've done it before. At the age of 62, you're going to sit here and tell me he's 62 years old. He just decided because he was getting so close to the end of his years, he was going to break a bunch of laws by doing this kind of stupid crap. And break his sacred duty and oath as a pastor and as a VPSO, which is basically a public servant. And I do believe they take the same oath of the Constitution as every other law enforcement. Call me crazy. I'm pretty sure they do. Violating our laws and this poor girl's rights, and who knows how many other people for that matter. We're gonna delve deep, real deep, and you're not gonna like you're probably gonna, the left is gonna love what I have to say, because this is absolutely a MAGA Republican. He absolutely believes in Trump. So do I. That does not make him a bad person. That makes him that makes him not a bad person either. What makes him a bad person is the fact that he's a predator. And that is where the limit gets drawn, right there. And I don't care who on the left wants to get on here in my comments and start screaming about Trump's a predator. Prove it. Not just civilly, prove it criminally. You haven't even touched that. This individual, on the other hand, he's going to jail. He is absolutely going to jail. I know he's going to jail, and I sure hope he stays there. I hope he absolutely stays there. I absolutely do. You know what? He needs to stay in prison and not get out. This needs to be... This needs to be put on blast, and you know what? If you live in Alaska, if you get this news, you need to look into his past as a freaking state, as any sort of state representative of public service. That is for sure. And I'm going to tell the church this: you need to be examining his pastoral history as with like a fine tooth comb, and do not sweep it under the rug. He needs to be tied, proverbially tied to the stake, just like you did back in the Salem witch trials. That is exactly what needs to happen to people like this, and there needs to be evidence to back it up. He needs to be disavowed. He needs to be shut down completely. Because at this point, any sort of inference of guilt from him will shift squarely on you for trying to cover it up. He needs to be disavowed. He needs to be shut down completely. So yeah, that's this. This was like priority one of this stream today, and to Florida, to the Florida government, I sent you a tweet. I don't know how to do private messages in Twitter because I'm inept. I my use of Twitter is using it to post crap memes and stuff, conservative memes and whatnot. I don't know how to do private messages. I don't use Twitter for that. I wish someone out there would show up at my house and show me how to do that. But here's the deal. My use of Twitter is using it to post crap memes and stuff, conservative memes and whatnot. I don't know how to do private messages. I don't use Twitter for that. I wish someone out there would show up at my house and show me how to do that. But here's the deal. You're not weird. Look, I'm all for the conservative causes. I am absolutely a conservative. I am a constitutional conservative. I do not believe that. I do not believe that the actions of one should negatively impugn the whole movement, and I think in order for that to happen, I do not believe that. I do not believe that the actions of one should negatively impugn the whole movement, and I think in order for that to happen, you know, there are a lot more places and a lot more details that I do not have about this person, but I can guarantee you, as a matter of fact, this person most likely voted conservative right alongside the rest of us conservatives. You know, there are a lot more places and a lot more details that I do not have about this person, but I can guarantee you, as a matter of fact, this person most likely voted conservative right alongside the rest of us conservatives. You know what? Actually, we'll do this the right way. Yep, we'll go back in here. Share it to X. Hit the return button. Shift it up. And do it this way. We'll go back in here. Share it to X. Return button. Shift it up. And do it this way. Yep. So here's the skinny. Here's the skinny. I know, as a matter of fact, that men, especially when they're left to their own devices, can do stupid things. Absolutely stupid things. Women can too. One of the things that they do is when they make a mistake. So here's the skinny. Here's the skinny. I know, as a matter of fact, that men, especially when they are left to their own devices, can do stupid things. Absolutely stupid things. Women can too. One of the things that they do is when they make a mistake. when they make a mistake, they totally want to bail on it. They want to run away from it. A lot of them don't want to confront it. But this is a mistake that this individual is absolutely going to have to face account for. And you know what? I think that the prosecution needs to know that there is most likely other victims out there. Most likely, I would actually put it at highly likely. I would state what little bit of reputation I have on this. I can tell you as a matter of fact, this individual is not from Florida. He lives in Florida. If I had to guess, he's probably originally from Texas. He's been to Minnesota. He's been to Nevada. He's been to Utah. He lived in Alaska for numerous years. And there is probably a trail of hidden victims that if you dug hard enough, you could probably find more than just one or two. He's been to Minnesota. He's been to Nevada. He's been to Utah. He lived in Alaska for... So here's my thing. As a somewhat of an insider on this situation, I'm going to tell you a little secret. My family has had this kind of abuse in it before. We've seen the patterns. We know what they look like. I'll tell you what one of them looks like right now. When you have a family member or a person who moves from state to state, now bear in mind, this is not military. There's a reason why drifters used to be highly regarded with suspicion back in the day. When you have someone who moves around so much, they can get away with whatever they feel like they can do whatever they want. This is why certain codes, like the Hobo Code, used to say treat your hosts with courtesy. Be respectful. This breaks like all of that, right? So, here's the thing. I will tell you the kind of skis bucket this is, and my mother is going to crucify me for saying this publicly. But I'm going to say it anyway. This man has been married with children for 20 plus years. When his son, or rather when his child, became a member of my family, or rather my sibling became a member of this individual's family, however you want to say that, he got on his Facebook and asked my mother to go hunting with him. My mother. Not my father, my mother. Now, as a Christian conservative man, I take big issues with that. Number one, you're hitting on a married woman who is my mother, who would never do anything to disgrace the relationship she's in. I don't care who says what. Unless you come at me with actual evidence and not just your slanderous hearsay. Big issues with that. Number one, you're hitting on a married woman who is my mother, who would never do anything to disgrace the relationship she's in. I don't care who says what. Unless you come at me with actual evidence and not just your slanderous hearsay. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm pausing so much, guys. It's just this is kind of getting a little too loud, and it's echoing over my TV and whatnot, so I'm trying to modulate the volume so you guys aren't going deaf at the same time. That's not even the right device. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm pausing so much, guys. It's just this is kind of getting a little too loud, and it's echoing over my TV and whatnot, so I'm trying to modulate the volume so you guys aren't... Here is... Here is the problem that we're going to run into, right? And we're going to remove this image off the screen because... Oh, no, you guys don't need to see that. That's me watching anime. That's always fun. Here's the deal. I actually just need to find an empty space to... Oh, that doesn't matter. That's the wrong thing to click. I need to bring my mouse over to OBS and just take this off of the view entirely. I'm going to tick off just about every legal person in the room. I'm going to make them mad right now. This individual has violated so many rules of conduct, so many laws in regards to this that he needs to be looked into more thoroughly. Um, Now, on a different topic, well, actually, we're going to stay on this topic for a little bit longer, I think, because it deserves the marinating, so to speak. And yes, I have been quite sick for the last few days, and I look even worse because we had two stray dogs in the neighborhood that I had to go figure out, if it was one of our neighbors or not. So, me and my dog had to go for a little bit of a walk, which was kind of fun, always fun. Um, anyway, here's the thing. This individual definitely needs to be looked at every location that he's ever been. All right, and gainful employment absolutely needs to be looked at, absolutely, including volunteer work because there are predators out there who will use volunteer organizations as a cover to do their dirty deeds and their disgustingness, and it needs to be dealt with. And yeah, I was actually putting the notes for this in something that it wasn't supposed to be used for, so I'm gonna end up having to get a new composition notebook for that and just rewriting everything else that I had in there, which wasn't much. Um, anyway, I'd love to hear y'all's input in the comments section. Definitely, probably making things a little legally more difficult for certain individuals, and I'm not sorry for speaking the truth, but I am sorry that your situation got disimproved by that. Here's the reality, though. I don't care if you're left or right. When you have actual physical evidence brought up against you, and you have the friggin' text messages to show on two different devices, you being a pig. You're not even a friggin' Republican. You're not a conservative. You're a pig. You're a predator. And you know what? To his wife, I'm going to tell you this right now. You're a coward for sitting back and letting him do all this. I will call you out as you are. You're a coward for sitting there and letting him beat you like a drum and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I fell down the stairs," or "Oh, I got attacked in Anchorage," or some other crap that you made up. Every time he did it, and looking the other way when he beat your kids. You should have left him years ago in the friggin' dirt. And you know what? You're just as much to blame for this because you could have held him accountable years ago because you knew how he was and you knew this was going on. And I don't care. The law has its own standard. Christianity has another. You saw everything wrong that he did and did nothing. As far as I'm concerned, lady, you're complicit. He went to Guam with your son. You go to Guam for one reason if you're an American with any amount of money. You go there to get you some that's not your wife. And probably break things that would normally be federal law here in the States. Are you like, is there a part of your brain that's not like processing this, lady? I'm sorry. I'm not going to call you by name. People know who you are. They know who your husband is. And it would not be a far stretch to find out who you are. I'm sorry, but you're not going to sit there and tell me that, "Oh, I didn't know anything about it." Lady, he went on a boat trip with your son. He beat your son. He kicked your son when he couldn't beat him. And, it's just... You're going to sit here and act like he's some sort of innocent pastor who's getting railroaded by the system. I'm sorry, he's not innocent. He's a scumbag. We all knew it. This is coming from an insider who's been listening to this crap for years and years and years. And you know what? It's about frigging time that your husband had it fucking served to him on a fucking silver platter from hell called the Florida fucking legal system. And I hope they put him away for life. And you know what? He deserves every second of what he gets next. And I will let God handle it from there. And that is all I'm going to say. I did my due diligence. Now the world knows my information because I tagged the governor of Florida in this post. And I hope to hell he sees it, because you know what? I hope he takes I hope he takes every word that I said and hands it off to the state of Alaska, the state of Texas, Minnesota, Nevada, Utah authorities, and tells them this is what we know. You need to be looking around. And you know what? To the state of Alaska, and then I will directly address you, because I hope you see this too. You need to see this video. You need to fix your culture problem up there. You really do. And this is also directed at the nonprofits and the Native Alaskan organizations that are the governmental village authorities. You guys need to work on that, because like people need to start coming forward on this stuff. I'm sorry, but this whole it's bad if the husband gets put in prison because of blah blah. I get it. It destabilizes the household, and then Bush, Alaska, that could be deadly. I understand that. But here's the thing. Here's the big thing. This kind of stuff is bleeding out into other places. It's making you look bad. It's making us look bad as a white Christian conservative. It makes me probably look worse than anybody. But you know what? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to preach it to the clouds until someone speaks back. This man needs to be held responsible. Absolutely. As a white Christian conservative, it makes me probably look worse than anybody. But you know what? I'm going to sit here and we cannot, and we need to, as a society as a whole, we need to go back to what Reagan said. Society is not responsible for your actions. Movements are not responsible for your actions. Your actions are your own. So people need to stop attributing and inversely attributing. Actually, it needs to stop both ways. This whole thing needs to be stopped, right? Right there. Stop. If you're a liberal, stop counting yourself as a liberal. Count yourself as an independent. And if you're conservative, count yourself as an independent constitutionalist. Because this whole thing has just gotten so far out of hand. Oh, man. People feel beholden to the cause because they don't want to take responsibility for their own behavior, or they just don't want to educate themselves, which is not wanting to take it. Yeah, you know. When you know, you know. And then vice versa, it happens the other way too. Like, the individual gets painted bad because of the cause, right? Like, I like Donald Trump's policies. I don't like his personality and his mannerisms. Does that make me a Trump fan? No, it just means that I agree with some of his policy positions. We need a closed border. We need no more new wars. We need to stop the wars that exist right now. And we need to get our act together. We need to get our economy back in order. We need to have energy independence in our own country because we have the ability to do that. We have the ability to stay in our own hemisphere. We need to start considering it. Like, we need to be focusing on our problems at home before going abroad. And I'm pretty sure that's not just, like, a conservative point. I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people out there hold that point that aren't conservatives. And I get really tired of people branding certain things as conservative when they're not. They're just issues that people need to discuss and talk about. And no one wants to do it without tossing labels around left and friggin' right. Pro-abortion issues would definitely be a label that is accurate. Pro-gun is another one that'd be accurate as well, you know, for certain individuals. The thing is, and if you want to break this system, I figured it out. Here's what you do. Paradise PD had it absolutely right. You want to break this system? Do what was what were the cops' names? You got Gina, Dusty, Fitzgerald, and Bullet. Do what the four of them did on the episode about Black Lives Matter in season 1. Do that. Do that. Do that. You want to break the system? Do it. Go out and do it and put it on national TV. Everyone's head would friggin' break. Because they can't handle this stupid society that system, not society, it's just the system that we've constructed, can't handle anything that doesn't follow their labels. You know what? I guarantee you that there's probably more than a couple of leftists out there who are pro-gun. They just don't say it because it doesn't follow in with the rest of the party narrative. I guarantee you that there's more than a couple conservatives out there who'd probably support abortion up to a certain point. They just don't say it because it doesn't fall in line with the normal labels. You know, these issues need to be addressed individually, and I get so fed up with these idiot fucking labels that make... they try to make sense with it, and it just doesn't. Like, the individual has the right to have their own thoughts on things. For example, I am absolutely all for a closed border. I also think our immigration system needs to have a pathway to citizenship, but it needs to be handled legally through the legal system, through the immigration system. Just like every other immigrant throughout history that we've had to freaking deal with. That was the Asian immigrants during World War II, the Italian immigrants prior to World War II. That was the immigrants coming over from Italy and all the other European nations and other countries in the times prior. They all had to go through some sort of screening or vetting process of some kind at some degree. I'm sure, even if it was just a cop pulling them over and saying, hey, do you have anything dangerous that we need to know about? And that would qualify as screening. In modern day, I would argue that actually our screening process sucks because it's too slow, because it bogs itself down in too much BS. It just needs to be a simple vetting. A background check, a basic acquaintance, checkup, make sure they're not, associated with someone on the terror watch list. And then if they're not, or some drug cartel member or gang member that's been a recidivist criminal that's been so problematic that they have a country record where they're from that's constantly in and out of jail, then if they don't have that problem, let them in, I say. But we need to have good vetting. We need to have things that say, hey, yeah, look, we know you were escaping from this place. We need you to stay on this side of the border while we check things out. Once we get you checked out, we'll even send you your own private vehicle to come get you and bring you over ourselves. That's the way it needs to be. I am all for bringing over foreign talent. I'm all for draining the talent of other countries. I'm all for this stuff. It's great. I think it's a great idea for the United States. It's terrible for the rest of the world. But, frig it. I don't live in the rest of the world. I live in the United States. You don't like that attitude? Too bad. Oh, the United States is in the world. You know what? I'm going to quote the Bible. You live in the world, but you're not of the world. You can absolutely be a part of this fucking planet and not have to worry about what Sing Jong who gives a crap in Timbuktu. You don't have to give a crap about who he's banging. That's none of your business. Who cares? You can absolutely be a part of this fucking planet and not have to worry about what Sing Jong who gives a crap in Timbuktu. You don't have to give a crap about who he's banging. Oh man. The sad part about this whole YouTube thing for me. This wasn't supposed to be about crime, politics, or the news. But, man, I had to pop off today. I had to do it because this morning just hit me to my core. You people are so dumb sometimes. And yes, I just called the world dumb. Here's the thing. You know what? I made a statement to a family member this morning. We were having a discussion about politics. A little, small, tiny rant. Here in Maine, they're pushing this whole LGBTQ who gives a crap agenda down our students' necks as kids. And I'm not okay with it personally. I think that the school has no place in that. I don't think that the school should be teaching it at all. I think that if that's an issue in your home, it is your right and your responsibility as a parent to handle it inside your own home, and it is no business of the school or the government to say otherwise. Period. End of story. End of story. I don't care what activist wants to go, you're for abusing children. You know what? I'm done with you fuckers hiding behind children. If this society was armed, there's an old saying, an armed society is a polite society, and there's a reason for that. You know what? I'm done with you fuckers hiding behind children. If this society was armed, there's an old saying, an armed society is a polite society, and there's a reason for that. I've just absolutely hit my utmost limit with the stupid from these people who want to sit there and scream about guns and trans rights at the expense of the rights of the rest of us. And you know what I'm talking about here. And you know what? It does not matter what your preference is. It does not matter what your skin color is. It does not matter what your political affiliation is. You know what I'm talking about. It needs to stop. Stop going after parents for raising their kids the way that the parents say that their kids are to be raised. That is their right as parents. Barring physical, harmful abuse, you have zero authority or right to say that them raising their children is child abuse. If I homeschool my kids because I don't want them exposed to your BS, that is not child abuse. That is my right as a parent. And I will take that to every court in the land. I'll even show you examples internationally where governments have been overthrown for trying to do similar things. And you know what, if need be, we'll start making cluster committees of friggin' parents under a larger organization, and we will all rally to vote against you and remove you. In fact, no, enough. Let's do that. Let's do that. We'll do that. Let's cluster up all the parents in this country who are tired of this crap. Gay, straight, it doesn't matter. Who are tired of this stuff being shoved down our kids' throats, that it's okay for them to have puberty blockers and their organs mutilated by people who don't care about their health. Let's have this conversation, parents. Let's do it. No, let's do it. My fellow parents, we need to have this discussion about this absolutely on an open forum in public. I will go. I am actually tempted to go. You know what? I very well might. Because I have a big old piece of private property that I can use. Massive piece of private property. And they cannot stop me from holding a meeting. It is called freedom of association and freedom of speech. And you know what? I am done. And I think we all need to be done with this whole bend the knee attitude of letting the state just run right over us. In this case, Portland, Maine. I am so sick of that crap. Portland might be a liberal shithole, but the rest of the state doesn't need to be just because Portland is. And I'm done dealing with it. With this whole bend-the-knee attitude of letting the state just run right over us. In this case, Portland, Maine. I am so sick of that crap. Portland might be a liberal shithole, but the rest of the state doesn't need to be just because Portland is. And I'm done dealing with it. And then people, you know what? And actually, this was part of the conversation I had with my family member earlier. I had the thought in my head, and I expressed the thought of leaving the state. You know what? I'm done running. I'm done moving from state to state, trying to find my happy spot. I think it's high time that me and a lot of other people sit down and have a little conversation about what is acceptable in this world and what is not. And I think it's high time that I started speaking out against this stuff because I'm done dealing with it. And no, I don't have custody of my daughter. My ex does. And you know what? That's okay with me. That's okay with me because now I can do this stuff. My daughter attends a school over in a certain city in our state. I'm not going to say which because it's giving out too much information. But you know what? The very second that this school decides to start touting off this kind of crap, I will be at the next school board meeting, and I will be voicing what I have to say. And they're not going to like me for it. And you know what? I absolutely will homeschool my kids for conservative reasons. Because you know what? That's my right as a fucking parent. I absolutely can do that. Absolutely. And you cannot stop me. That is federal law. You try to stop me or say that I'm abusing my children because I'm homeschooling them, I will have a federal lawsuit on your ass so fast you won't even be able to know what hit you. It will happen just that quickly. You will be shut down quicker than you can say, oops. You're going to be sitting there saying, no, we take it back. We take it back because we're so sorry. We were wrong. And you're going to turn around and try to do it again. And I'm going to be there when you try to do it again. And I'm going to be there when you try to do it the time after that. And then after that. And then after that. And you know what? We're going to make a freaking little monitoring board for you people. For every time you do this, we're going to make a little check mark right next to your names. Every single one of you by name. And every time you do it, we're going to petition the government to remove you from any sort of authority and power. Period. Because we're done. This needs to stop. Monitoring board for you people. For every time you do this, we're going to make a little check mark right next to Yep, and you know what? I think Stargate had the best example. We need to have a civilian oversight board. We need to have a civilian-run oversight board of our school system in the state of Maine. Run by the parents in each district and responsible to the parents, and have a statewide meeting at least once every 3 months, if not more often than that. Yep. Run by the parents in each district and responsible to the parents, and have a statewide meeting at least once every 3 months. Yep. Not answerable to anyone but the people. To those who are just joining, we just got done going over a whole Florida thing about someone who absolutely needs to be put in prison. If you want to, you can hit the comments and see if you, and I can totally go over it again. If not, it's cool. We don't need to go over it again. But let's just say this person did some very bad things, and he has the same political affiliation as me, and just gonna call it out like I see it. And if you could, just like and share the video and get as many people in here to watch it as you can, because we're popping off today. We are absolutely gonna pop off today. I sound worse than I usually do because I'm getting over a weird bug that's been going around. But that ain't stopping me today. I've hit my limit with all of this stuff. I'm done, and I think the rest of the world needs to be done too. Thank you for joining my channel, by the way, the one other person who hopefully is not me. You know, here's the deal. You're not, but I'm going to say this much. You're not going to sit there and tell me how to raise my kid as a state. That is not acceptable, that's not okay, and it violates my parental rights. Absolutely violates my parental rights. And it not only violates mine, it violates anyone else who's a parent. And yeah, it's kind of a little mess back there, but that's alright. Here's the thing. We need to, as a country, start putting a stop to government and government organizations telling us how to raise our kids, how to live our lives on the day-to-day. I'm not talking like your taxes, although I do hold the opinion that taxation is theft. Just kind of throwing that out there. But I also have the biblical thing of, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, so you kind of gotta take it or leave it. At the end of the day, though, what this is all gonna boil down to is we need to form a committee across the states, that is not the teachers board. We need to bring back the parent-teacher associations, the PTA meetings. Those absolutely need to be happening again. We need to bring back the discussions of what is taught in the classroom with the parents. That absolutely needs to happen, and all parents should be invited to attend by the school, not the divorced parent or whatever. We need to start We need to start engaging with the system more and stop letting the left dictate what happens in our schools. We need to stop letting conservatives dictate what happens in the school. It needs to be an agreement between both parties, and we need to start coming to terms with what needs to be done. Because obviously, obviously these things are happening, and the few conservative parents out there that are supposed to be, doing this thing aren't doing this thing because we just, people keep getting their kids taken from them for homeschooling them. Because obviously these things are happening, and the few conservative parents out there that are supposed to be, So, like, what do you think? What do you think we're supposed to do? Sit here on our hands and do nothing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's time to use the right of free assembly and freedom of speech to form a committee or an assembly of parents outside of the control of the school board to have a discussion about the school board. And that's how it needs to be. And then when the conversation's been had, take your independent actions. And you know what? The school board can't function if there is no school, and there is no school if there is no students. That's why they don't want you massively homeschooling your kids, because then they lose their funding, they lose their jobs. Oh, boo-hoo! You know what? Get over it. Go work at a Denny's. That's what I gotta say about that. You want me to feel bad because you're gonna lose your job. Ha ha. I got a story to tell you on that one. I worked for Walmart for 2 years, backed a customer's vehicle into another customer's vehicle. I worked in the automotive department. Caused less than $800 damage to the car, right? Lost my job just like that. Do you think I honestly care? Do you think I have a reason to care about you clowns in the school boards potentially losing your jobs because people start homeschooling their kids? I lost my job over costing someone $800. You think that even remotely compares to you people mutilating children? You people absolutely need to lose your jobs. Absolutely. No, I don't care. I don't care. I don't. I lost a job. Another job I lost because I failed to maintain communication with my manager after wrapping a car around a tree in Wisconsin. You think that compares? I wasn't ever able to get that job back either. Neither one of them. So you know what? You people definitely don't deserve your jobs. At all, as far as I'm concerned. If you're pushing this crap on kids, you need to lose your jobs. You need to permanently be removed from the conversation of educating children. And you should never be put in a position of authority over anyone under the age of 18 ever again. You don't want to hear that, but there it is. And you know what? To any state official who's out there saying, I'm just doing my job, when the school board comes to you and say, I need him arrested for child abuse because he's homeschooling his kids, you know what? There's a reckoning coming for you. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. The I'm just following orders thing will not work when that reckoning happens. We used to have a little phrase for pirates, and you know what it is. You sail with them, you hang with them. And you know what? I hope it's just a figurative. I really do hope it's just figurative. I hope none of this gets to the point of getting physical, because I don't promote physical violence at all. I don't think that it needs to happen. I think what needs to happen through the right channels. And I think the right channels in this case is creating the right channels by making committees of our own volition and bringing our evidence and proof to the government. And when DHS decides to step in and say, well, they have to because we said so, or the Board of Education on the federal level decides, the Department of Ed decides to step in and say, well, we said this has to happen, then we can take them to court and say, we're the parents of these kids. They're trying to tell us that they have the right to dictate what our children learn in school, and we don't agree with that. We've gone to the school board meetings. We've done all this other stuff that they said we had to do, and nothing's getting done. So we're turning to the courts to fix it. And that is exactly how it needs to play out. That is exactly how it needs to play out. So here's what needs to happen. Number one, parents need to stop being afraid of the legal system and go to the legal system. Number two, we need to stop being afraid of these people and standing up to them. We need to tell them, no, you are not teaching my kid that it's okay to chop his you-know-what off. We need to tell them, no, it is not okay. You are not going to have my little girl have all her internal organs ripped out and have a double mastectomy. That needs to stop right there. The shared bathroom thing also needs to stop. I'm sorry, you don't share a bathroom unless you're in a home, and even then, I don't like the idea of sharing a bathroom with my own family members because half of the time, they're in there when I have to use it, and you know what I mean. If you live in a house with more than just one person, you know exactly what I mean when I say I've had to dance in front of the bathroom door waiting to use the bathroom before. But we should not have number one, we shouldn't have a situation like that in our schools. Number two, I am actually okay with the option of making a third bathroom. Believe it or not, I absolutely am. But you know what? I think it needs to be a third bathroom isolated to those who identify that way. Yes, it'll create problems, but then at least you're controlling the chaos. You're not saying, oh, well, he identifies as a girl, so he gets to go use the woman's bathroom. Or, oh my god, this woman identifies as a man, she can go use the men's bathroom. No, you make a separate bathroom for those with this kind of ideology, and you tell them that if they have that ideology, go ahead and use it. And you know what? I'm going to say it. If you're going to have that kind of a bathroom, odds are kids like me back in the day would probably use it if we had to go bad enough. And you go ahead, you put your bathroom stalls in and your urinals, and you go ahead and you put your tampon dispenser up right next to the urinal. See how much of a laugh that becomes. That would be a meme in just about 2 seconds. And you know what? YouTube's probably going to shut down this live stream or absolutely have a bird about it. I don't care. I do not care if this does not get monetized. The oh really section of my videos has never once been something that I wanted to monetize in the first place. That's mostly been my gaming and other videos about cooking and whatever else. This is just my way of telling the world that you're all screwed in the head and you need help. Get help. Just stop. Get help. And do the right thing. Stop hiding at home. Stop being such cowards. This goes back to the 90s too with the internet. Like the late 90s, early 2000s with the internet. You people whined and complained about porn and bad stuff on the internet. And yet you refuse to exercise proper parental controls. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, you people you can't even grasp the concept of being a parent, apparently, in the modern age. I do it all the time. I monitor what my daughter watches on TV. I very carefully select what she watches on TV. There are things that I will not let her watch. I will not let her watch the new Transformers series that talks about how certain bots are a certain gender. I will absolutely not let my daughter watch a new Dora the Explorer. This didn't happen. I'm using this as a overly blown example here. An example of Dora the Explorer where she's exploring transgenderism. I will not let my daughter watch that. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what? That is my right as her father. I have every right not to let my daughter do that. The same thing with my son. If my son is over here, I have every right to control what goes on in my home as far as what they watch and do not watch. And as their parent, I also have the responsibility of being responsible for what they see out in public too. So you know what? Yeah, there's that. There is that. And you know what? The public does pretty good about hiding it usually, up until just recently anyway. Just recently, we started getting this whole thing where people were grinding their junk in little kids' faces out in Seattle. What the heck is that about? Oh my god. You people are putting Sodom and Gomorrah to shame. At this point, I'd rather go live in Sodom and Gomorrah. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. It's like the evil and recidivism in this culture right now is so disgusting. It's so disgusting and wrong. And no one wants to stand up and do anything about it. And yeah, I had to take a minute because, like I said, I'm getting over a bug. And I kind of have a bit of a throat thing going on here, which isn't so fun. But, like, it's so bad. It's so bad. It is. It is. And, like, I know there's going to be people out there who are going to look at this video and be all, oh, well, he's got issues. He needs to be put in a special home or something. Oh, I'm sure when I'm older they'll say I need to belong. I definitely need to go to a home. Because of his political views don't align with the rest of us. Guess what? We don't live in a collective, and I just realized I got a little tuft going on. We'll fix that. There. And it's a little less distracting for me and probably the rest of you. But here's the deal. Here's the big deal. I have members of my family that are gay and potentially even trans. I have friends who are trans, and you know what? They agreed. If you're under the age of 18, you cannot and should not be making decisions to permanently alter your body until you turn of adult age and have had considerable counseling to make sure that you're sure this is what you want to do. It's kind of like the nuclear football is a good example here. Like, even the nuclear football has a security system so no one person can just turn the key. I mean, it just makes sense to have that same, okay, well, here, you're 18 years old, you've been miserable for the last 8 years, you felt like you weren't supposed to be whatever you were, here's a counselor, let them talk to you for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of months, or maybe even a couple of days over the course of a year, and, just maybe twice a month, just pop in and say, hey, yeah, I'm feeling this way, I still don't feel like I'm whatever gender they want to be, or whatever gender they are, and I feel like, and have them say, well, then, yeah, that's fine, after you're an adult, after you turn 18 years old, that is absolutely your call to make. Before 18 years old, you should not be allowed to make that decision at all. At all. We don't take kids seriously when they say, oh, well, I want the knockoff brand instead of the Crayola crayons. Heck, most of us parents just grab whatever crayons are there and give it to the kids, and you know what happens? The kid's happy anyway. And if your kid is miserable, then look at the living situation. I'm so sick of these activist physicians and politician activists who are going to use this kind of stuff. Like, there are absolutely people on the left and the right who are going to use what I say in this video against me at every step and turn. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I could explode with 3 million viewers right now. And there's going to be some bonehead out there who's going to try to use this crap against me. I don't hate trans people. I hate forcing trans ideology on kids. If they come into it naturally, fine. That's how it needs to be. That is exactly how it needs to be. Like, if they come into it of their own accord, or even biologically, because, there is a condition where you're born with both, right? I forget the name of it. I know it exists. And they're a very, very, very minute, small portion of our society. So small that it's barely a statistic at this point. But, don't sit here and use that as a justification to mutilate our children. No. No, because you know what? They actually did go over this. The Supreme Court did. Gender mutilation has been already ordered by the Supreme Court to be child abuse. This was back when female castration was introduced in this country courtesy of Sharia law. Well, they already went over this crap. And you know what? They also said that the government cannot force a surgery on a single person. Do you know why they did that? Well, we had a discussion about surgically castrating you know what? The problem is not that we need new laws. The problem is that we need to enforce what's already there. Most states, a very large portion of states, have a law on the books about domestic violence and guns. And we can argue about the Second Amendment ramifications of it all day, right? But if it was enforced, and actually if these laws were all enforced the way that they were supposed to, what happened in Lewiston, Auburn back in November wouldn't have happened. I guarantee you, if it was enforced the way that it was supposed to be enforced, it wouldn't have happened. But it wasn't. They got word that he was nuts, and they let him go. They confronted him, and they let him go anyway. And there's video evidence of them doing exactly that. Exactly that. He more than hinted at what he was going to do. He basically outed himself. And because they tied their own hands behind their back with a bunch of legal BS instead of, a bunch of counter-legal BS, basically, they said, well, we can't do anything. You know what? They should have done something anyway. Don't come to me with this whole, the cops are doing their jobs. No, they're not. They are not doing their jobs. If they were, I'd be in cuffs for speeding every day. I would never have a driver's license again. They don't do their job because they can't do their job because they're told if they do their job, they're going to lose their job. Oh my God. Oh, and then when you speak out against the system on this whole thing, they're at your door. Knock, 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 knock. We're here to confiscate everything you got because you said the wrong speech. This is not a democracy. That's a tyrant dictatorship run by your governor. I guarantee you, probably within like a month of me getting enough people seeing this video, maybe even less, I'll probably have a police officer knocking on my door, asking if I'm okay, asking if I have any weapons or guns on me, and going through the whole spiel, to which I'm going to reply, do you have a warrant and do you have an actual cause to be here? Can you wait? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. No, he is not. You're gonna wait. Because I am midstream and you don't need to do that right now. So, like, yeah, no. It's just, this whole thing is so stupid. It is so stupid. Absolutely the dumbest thing ever. People need to start standing up for themselves and doing what they need to do politically and educationally. It's just the way that it is. So, like, yeah, no. It's, this whole thing is so stupid. It's so stupid. Absolutely the dumbest thing ever. People need to start standing up for themselves. Parents need to stand up and start making groups and talking about things that need to happen. And, that's just the way that it is. It is the way that it needs to be. We need to stop hiding behind the whole, keeping the peace bullshit. That needs to stop. And you know what? I hope the whole world sees this video. It's gone on for 72 minutes. I am sick as hell. I know I don't sound it because I just literally rattled on for 72, 73 minutes. But, hopefully y'all have a wonderful evening. It's raining here. Enjoy the rain. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. I'd appreciate it. It's just, we need to have a serious, long-form conversation with groups of people about these topics because they need to stop. We need to stop a lot of this stuff. But hopefully everyone enjoys their evening. I know I'm going to try to, and hopefully get something nice and yummy to eat today.